Hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. If you are a newbie here, thank you for coming. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to my videos. My name is Nana, and I'm a lock person. I love talking about sister locks and micro locks, and I'm also a nurse, so sometimes I do nursing videos, but most of the time it's lock videos. So if you're a newbie, welcome. If you like this video or any of my other videos, hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell so that you know when I post new stuff. If you're a returning customer, thank you so much. Welcome back. Today, I'm going to be kind of making a statement. So I'm going to be saying, don't get sister locks or micro locks if ... So I'm going to be talking about a few things that you should consider if you have certain personality traits, or if there are some things that you plan on doing after you get installed with sister locks or micro locks. If you are any of these things, you should consider not getting sister locks or micro locks, because it's not for the faint of heart, especially in the beginning when things a lot of times don't look like the way you want them to look. The first thing I'm going to mention is don't get sister locks or micro locks if you see it as something temporary. Sister locks or micro locks are a permanent kind of hair solution. I like to call it a hair solution because it has solved so many of my hair problems. So that's what I like to call it. But don't go into it thinking, oh, I'm just gonna do it, and then if I don't like it, I'll just take it down. First of all, it's a huge financial investment. If you're gonna do that, you're gonna be losing a lot of money, because it takes a lot of money to get them installed. It takes a good amount of money to maintain. So if you go into it thinking, oh, I'm just going to take them down when I feel like it, you're just going to, that's a bad investment goal, a bad investment move. So don't do that. If you plan on doing anything else with them, the beautiful thing about micro locks and sister locks is that they are so versatile, and you can actually do so much with them, especially in the beginning stages when you don't like how they're looking, maybe. And you can get braids, you can get box braids, and there's lots of YouTube videos out there that talk about that. So you can get box braids over them, you can get wigs and weaves over them. So it's a very versatile hairstyle. So in terms of like accessorizing and doing different things, you can absolutely feel free to do that. But as for the fundamental the fundamental hair on your head, like a fundamental style that you're working with, don't go into it thinking it's just kind of a temporary solution. It's a permanent solution, and you should see it as such before you go and get them installed. The next thing is, don't get sister locks or micro locks if you are impatient. My goodness, this is a huge one, because unless you start out with 12, 13 inches of hair and you have super, super thick hair, your locks will probably not look the way that you want them to look right away. If you're like the rest of us, or most of us, that started out with 2, 3, 4, 5 inches of hair, and have very fine hair, and the locks end up looking really, really stringy, and you look like the plucked chicken, is what people like to call it. You are going to have to give your hair time to mature. In the beginning, yes, it's rough. You're looking like the one hair sticking over here, sticking over here, one sticking over here. It's not going to look good right away. And so you have to be patient with your hair. You have to follow the guidelines that your loctician gives you. And patience is a virtue. The more patient you are, the more you'll see changes. And that's the thing too, is that the locks change so quickly. Within months, you're gonna start to see changes, and the hair will fluff up and thicken up, and the shrinkage is gonna reduce, because in the beginning there's gonna be lots of shrinkage. That's another thing too, is that you might start a certain length, but then the hair, because it's not locked, it will shrink, and then you'll lose length. So again, patience. So if you are impatient, and if you can't wait for it to get to that point, then you're going to resort to what I was talking about before. You might have to do wigs, weaves, box braids, whatever, in order to get you through that stage. But that can also be, very financially taxing. Like, we're trying to do this to try to cut back on how much money we're spending on our hair. That's one of the reasons why I got locks. And so it's kind of counterproductive if you have the locks, but then you're doing all these extra things to get through that stage where you're not really liking what it looks. So definitely think about that. If you are impatient and you want what you want right away, I would highly consider maybe not getting Sisterlocks or Microlocks. Other thing is that the hair is not going to lock right away. I know for some people, like right at 6 months to a year or so, the hair was locked, everything was fine. My hair, I am almost 3 years in and it's not completely locked. So everybody's hair is different, especially if you have a more looser curl pattern, your natural hair, it's gonna take a little bit longer. So again, patience. Don't expect the locks to lock right away. They're gonna have to go through that process. The next thing is, don't get Sisterlocks or Microlocks if you cannot stand to sit for long periods of time. Let me tell you, install day is going to be a day, 2 days, sometimes even 3 days. I was there for 2 days. It was one whole day. The first day was probably, I think, like 16 hours that first day, and then it was about 4 hours the second day. And that was rough. But again, patience, patience, patience. You know that you're doing this for a reason. So install day is really rough. And you know, once you do it, your loctician is going to give you tips and tricks on how to get through that day. You know, you bring work or you bring movies or whatever. But that is definitely something to consider. And then the other thing is for retightenings. Your retightenings, you know, I know some locticians are very fast and they can be done within 2 hours and your retightenings are done. But you know, if you have like maybe a trainee or somebody who's not quite as fast, your retightenings could take, you know, 4, 5 hours maybe sometimes until they get faster. And so if you're somebody who hates to sit for long periods of time, that is going to be an issue. And then, you know, you're gonna like be dreading your retightening days, and you shouldn't dread going to your hair. It's not supposed to be like a self-care thing. So definitely, if you can't sit for a long time, don't do it. And the other thing too is that if you plan on self-maintaining, like doing your own retightenings, that's also something to consider. If you're not somebody that you think is going to be going to a loctician to be retightening your locks every 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks, whatever, and you're going to be doing that yourself, that's also something to think about. Are you going to have the patience for that? Are you going to have the time for that? Definitely have kind of like time budget in your mind before you go and get installed. Otherwise, you're going to be backtracking after and being like, oh my gosh, what did I get myself into? But yeah, definitely something to consider if you can't sit or if you feel like it's going to be too hard for you to self-maintain. And retightenings are not something you should be neglecting. I mean, between 4 and 8 weeks, you should be going every single time that is due, because the longer you wait, the more damage there's going to be, the more fixing your loctician's going to have to do. And then that's going to cost you more money. And that is, again, counterproductive. We want to spend less money on our hair, not more. So definitely do not neglect your retighten. The next thing is hair products. So for I know that when I was a loose natural, I didn't use a lot of hair products, but I know that a lot of loose naturals have a whole plethora of hair products and things that they use for the curl and the conditioning and the washing and the this and the that. And one of the big things that Sisterlock locticians and Microlock locticians, one of the big teaching points is that you're really not supposed to use any products at all on your hair, especially in the beginning. And the reason for that is because all the products give moisture and buildup also. You don't want lint and buildup all up in your locks. You don't want that. But the moisture especially can cause the hair to slip, and what we call slippage is when the locks unravel, and then that's just going to be extra whenever you go back for your retightenings. Your loctician's going to have to fix all of those things, and that's going to again cost you more money. So think about the hair products that you're using now as a loose natural, and just have it in your brain that you're not going to be using any of those. And you know what? Your hair is going to be fine. I didn't use any products at all. I mean, zero, not even rose water, nothing at all. For the first, I want to say year, and my hair was fine. My scalp was fine. You maybe need to do a little bit of oil on your scalp, but that's about it. Don't put any product in your hair. Your hair will be fine. I promise you, my hair was. So definitely, if you plan on using a lot of product, you're going to destroy your locks. So don't get Sisterlocks or Microlocks if you plan on using a lot of product. The last thing I'm going to say is don't get Sisterlocks or Microlocks if you don't plan on following your loctician's recommendations. Let me tell you, they go to this training and they have all the knowledge for a reason, and they give you the rules to protect you and to protect your investment. So definitely follow their instructions. I say that also, but I also say, within reason, because one of the things that my loctician told me was that in the first straight up year and a half, I should just leave them alone. Don't touch them. Don't style them. Just let them hang. Don't put any like bobby pins or clips or anything like that in your hair. And I did not really follow that because I just could not. My hair was so stringy and so thin, and I did not feel comfortable just leaving them. So what I would do is I would use bobby pins and pin up like the back a little bit before it was long enough for a ponytail. I would pin up the back and just kind of leave the front. I had like a little bang action going on, or I'll pin the side so it'd be kind of like a half up thing. And I was just very careful because I would use bobby pins, and I was just very careful to have the bobby pins go around the locks and not through the locks to not to damage them. So I was very careful with that. But even though she was very strict about that, I kind of amended that a little bit because I just could not stand with how my hair was looking. I just needed to do something with it. I just did not want it hanging loose. I want to do something with it. So that's one thing that I definitely did not follow to a T. But the other example is that she told me never ever don't wash at home. Just wait until you come to your retightenings, and we're going to wash them when you come to your retightenings. And that I followed because I was too scared. I knew my hair is not super tight coil, and it was already slipping and unraveling even without me using any water, especially around my edges. And so I definitely follow that to a T. If you're gonna do that, wash at home, definitely braid and band, because that's going to prevent a lot of slippage, especially in the beginning before your locks are locked. But yeah, so that's a little bit, those are a few examples of the things my loctician told me. So I really followed I was really good about following the rule about not washing at home and then just washing at my retightenings. But I was a little bit more lax about the styling thing. But they're gonna tell you a lot of things to do, and I would definitely follow everything to a T, but within reason. Like, you feel like you need to style a little bit, I think you can. Just be very careful. If you want to wash at home, just make sure you braid and bend so you don't get slippage. But definitely with the products and things, definitely follow that, because it's going to damage your hair. It's going to damage your locks. It's going to unravel your locks, and it's going to have you having so much buildup and lint, and you don't want your locks to look dirty. So definitely plan on following your loctician's recommendations. So don't go get locks if you don't plan on doing that. And that's it. I hope that video was helpful, especially if you're somebody that's considering getting locks and you're like, oh, but I'm thinking this, or well, I'm gonna do this. Let me tell you, for somebody that has locks, I share this information gladly so that you're kind of prepared for what's coming. But again, locks are amazing. This is the most I've loved my hair. This is the most hair freedom I've had. This is it's probably not the least that I've spent on my hair, just because I never really spent much money on my hair. But it is worth every single penny that I have put into my hair. So if you're considering getting locks, definitely take the things that I talked about already seriously, but also just know that it is like an amazing journey, and it gets to the point where where you're loving your locks, where you feel like you like how your locks are looking, and you literally have like no issues. You get up, you walk out, you literally don't have to do anything to your hair, and your hair is always hairing all the time, and that's awesome. So thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, if the content was helpful, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you know whenever I put anything out. I try to put a video out once a week, and so make sure you do that so you don't miss anything. And make sure to like and comment on the video and tell me what some of the things that you wish you'd known before you got in Sisterlocks or Microlocks, because I know that I had a few and which I shared with you. But thank you so much for watching, and I will hopefully see you in the next one. Bye.